Hey, what's going on? My name's Anthony DeRossi, and I'm one of the pastors at Keystone Bible Church. We're a multi-congregational church in the Tampa Bay area. And for the next few moments, I just want to offer you an encouraging thought that might help you in your walk with Jesus for the rest of this week. Have you ever had eczema or itchy ant bite or something like that? In the Bible, there was a skin disease called leprosy, and people who had it were called lepers. But today we know it as Hansen's disease. It's much more manageable now, but leprosy back then was painful, it was dangerous, and sometimes it looked really, really bad externally. In fact, the disease was so feared in the first century that it was a social custom that if you had leprosy, in order to keep other people safe, you had to stay away from everybody. You were immediately plucked out of your family, out of your village, out of your community, and you were condemned to a leper colony until you died or were healed. And if anyone came within 10 feet of you or 150 feet while the wind was blowing, you had to shout, "Unclean, unclean." Being a leper was one of the most devastating, lonely, miserable things that could happen to a person. You think about what it would be like to never have anyone do something as simple as shake your hand or give you a high five, or think about just being hugged, like think about being so marginalized and so cast out that you can't even remember what it's like to be loved and embraced by somebody else. Leprosy was one of the most saddest, miserable things that could happen to a person. Well, one day in Mark chapter 1, verses 40 to 45, a leper comes up to Jesus in Galilee and gets on his knees, and he says this. He says, "Please make me clean. I know you can heal me, Jesus. I know you can do it." It was an amazing act of faith. It was amazing for a leper to say that. And remember, lepers didn't go near people because they believed that their disease would infect and contaminate anyone they got near. And so for this leper to approach Jesus with so much faith that he knows his disease won't infect Jesus, but that Jesus's purity would probably end up infecting him, that's an amazing display of this man's faith. And the account goes on to say that Jesus saw the leper and he was moved with pity and compassion. He was heartbroken for this man, and he was in so much misery. And so Jesus did the one thing that no one dared to do with lepers. He touched him. And after all those years of never being touched or loved or embraced by anybody else, now he was experiencing the loving embrace of Jesus. When no one loved him, God loved him. Jesus stretched out his hand and said, "You're right. I can't heal you, and I will. Be clean." And he was, just like that. It was a miracle. But then the record goes on to tell us, and this is always so fascinating to me, that when he did that, he told him, "Go to the priest, just like the law required, but don't say anything about the miracle to anybody." But as Jesus already knew, this man didn't listen, and he did tell about the miracle, and as a result, Jesus' ministry got a lot harder. People were mobbing Jesus. He wasn't able to minister out in the open anymore. After this miracle, it was often the case that Jesus had to hide in lonely places. And so there's this contrast going on in the story, isn't there? You think about this. Now, because of what Jesus has done, this leper is free. But now, because of what Jesus has done, it's as if Jesus is already starting to slip shackles on his wrists and on his ankles. He's becoming less free. Now, because of what Jesus did, this leper has a new life, but Jesus soon is going to die. This leper was an outcast, but now he's welcomed back in. But Jesus is the ultimate insider, but soon he'll become the ultimate outsider and outcast as he takes the sins of the world onto himself. It's a changing of places, friends. It's the leper's salvation at the cost of Jesus's condemnation. This is the gospel. Our shame for his glory, our sin for his righteousness, our death for his life. So I don't know what you're going through today. I don't know where your soul is, where your heart is. You have the life of Jesus. You don't have any shame. You have no more guilt. You are free because of what Jesus has done for you. So the encouragement today is to walk in that amazing gospel truth today, the rest of this week, the rest of this month, the rest of this year, the rest of your life, and to invite others to come experience the grace that you've received from being touched by Jesus. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of Midweek Morning Encouragement. If you would like to make sure that you receive encouragement every single week right to your phone, text MME to the number just listed below here on the screen, and we'll do that. And we look forward to seeing you right here next week on Midweek Morning Encouragement.